What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for jumping into another one of our videos. Today is Sunday, June 15th, and I am glad to be back, guys. I had an awesome week of vacation with my family. We went aboard the MSC brand new cruise ship, World America, and it was an amazing time. Super amazing experience, and just a good opportunity to kind of let loose and relax a little bit and disconnect from everything that was going on. But boy, did I come back to a lot of news and a lot of things happening, not just in the stock market, guys, but in the world, in news alone. And we're going to talk about that for a couple minutes. And then we're going to get into the best day trade stocks coming up this week, from this past week running into this week, and what some of those stocks are that you should be taking a look at. Remember, none of this is financial advice, guys. I don't ever ask or tell anyone to buy or sell or hold or do anything of the sort. I'm merely sharing with you what I'm looking at, what I'm researching, what I'm most likely going to be buying and selling into in day trades, getting in, getting out pretty quick within the day, some of them swinging into the next day, sometimes talking about long holds. I have a few of those to share with you today, but I'm going to be sharing with you what I believe based on my analysis to be the best day trade stocks that you can get in and out of right now and make some serious money depending on where your account sits. So first and foremost, let's talk a little bit about what we've been seeing in the news, what affected the market this past week. Now, I will tell you guys that, some of you that are in the channel as subscribers, which if you haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button. But some of you as subscribers, you get my posts, you get my notifications through the week while I was away. I continued to day trade APLD every morning, just about. Made almost $800 or just over $800 this week just by simply getting in and out at the right times, knowing my support and resistance levels, knowing the candlestick patterns, and kind of understanding APLD and the current news source, what's going on with APLD. Happy Father's Day to everybody, by the way. If you're a dad, happy Father's Day. God bless you. I celebrated Father's Day beautifully with my kids this morning and my wife, and just loving on me and kind of not letting me do anything today. I hope that same thing was for you. But I couldn't help. I've got to make these videos for you guys, because you've got to know what's going on, and I love researching it and sharing it. So the key news things, the headlines that moved the market this week, guys, obviously, without even having to say it, the escalation in the Israel-Iran conflict is causing all kinds of opportunities for us with the market. And in general, what a sad story to see these people getting hurt on both sides of this fence. And on Friday, the Dow actually dropped almost 770 points, down 1.8%. We did in the S&P 500, as I mentioned, as I started this, we're about 1.1%, and the NASDAQ also was down 1.3%. But what's really important to understand as a retail day trader, as I've shared before, when I'm not liking the stocks and how they look because of the volatility, I go to utilities, I go to energy, I go to those ones that I know potentially are less volatile and potentially could make me more money. There is no difference here, guys. While it is horrible what's happening between Israel and Iran, you have to understand that Iran is a huge oil provider for the United States. So naturally, oil stocks and those energy type stocks are running up and are great stocks to look at and to trade in. Some of them even for a short-term swing. They're all up. So go on and take a look at anything oil or energy related right now, and you're going to find some really good stocks to buy into. Now, be careful though. Monday morning, we're waiting to see what's going to happen based on coming through the weekend with the market close. There could be a drop and a dip, and then the opportunity is to buy some of those stocks as they continue to rise up. But until this Israel-Iran conflict slows, stops, whatever may happen, energy and oil are good stocks to be taking a look at to make money. And I'm sorry if that sounds sort of, insensitive, but guys, you're here to find out how to make money, right? We personally are not here to stop the conflict, but why not benefit based on what is going on within the economy, within the markets, within what's going on there? Airline travel and travel, guys, are both down. So if you have stock like I do, JetBlue, I have long-term hold stocks in JetBlue. Airlines are down, travel is down. And that's really because of anytime you have some sort of conflict like that, generally travel tourism, things like that will be affected even here in the United States, even with it not being the actual conflict being inside the United States. But that does happen. Delta, American, United Airlines, they all fell between 4 and 5%. Cruise lines and international carrier stocks also slumped down. And again, because of the rising fuel costs based on that. So you have to understand that. The safe haven, though, guys, if you're looking for something else to trade, and I've shared this before, gold and the US dollar both strengthened. So you can get into the different stocks that are related to gold and also silver and the US dollar. The other thing that really affected the stock market and continues to affect our stock market and performance is this US-China trade updates and tariffs. We have a temporary pause in certain tariffs, especially between the US and China. And that did boost a lot of good sentiment, some positive momentum in the market this week. It's part of why the S&P 500 went over 6,000 points for the first time since February. And the NASDAQ also rose on the optimism of easing these trade tensions. But again, with what happened in Israel and Iran caused that to kind of reverse and come down a little bit. Another big thing in the news was obviously a very soft May inflation data report. Consumer and producer inflation for May came in below expectations. So CPI was actually up 2.4% year over year. And this is just a bright spot in the economy and what's happening with the administration and the presidency. But this weighed in during midweek. So it kind of slightly calmed markets a little bit and gave us a fostering of a rebound. We also have coming up June 17th and June 18th, where we talk about the Fed policy being part of the focus. Rising geopolitical and trade concerns reshaped expectations ahead of the Fed's June 17th, June 18th meeting. And investors are pricing in steady, a steady rate policy with possible rate cuts being delayed until later in the year, which is going to add another layer of uncertainty. You've heard in many of my videos me talking about Fed Chair Jerome Powell and how he just continues to lock heads with Trump and, is not looking to be on the same page, and it's affecting us overall. This week coming, what's happening for us, the June 16th, Monday through, the 19th? Well, there's a lot of optimism over the trade talks, the low inflation. There's a strong jobs data push, which major indexes become higher, especially in the tech stocks, which you guys know I love to trade in: APLD, NVIDIA, Palantir, BBAI, Big Bear AI. All those stocks are in that tech sector, and I love to trade in those, and there's always opportunities to make money there. But be aware that later in the week, there's this escalation in geopolitics in the Middle East, coupled with the tariff threats that triggered a sharp reversal in global equity markets, with the oil surging and with defense and gold assets outperforming. Guys, those are some of the ones you need to be taking a look at and understand what's happening as we get through the week. Overall, the S&P 500 ended that week lower. I've already shared that with you. There's a lot of volatility in it, though, so you have to be careful. You need to sort of understand there's potential for swings, and they could be drastic. So be careful. Be very careful about where you are in the market. A couple things to look at coming up this next week. It's going to be interesting to see tomorrow, Monday, and Tuesday what the market's reaction is to any new Middle East developments that could set the tone from this past weekend. We don't really know. We see in the news, we're watching what's going on. We see the missiles shooting back and forth. But you don't really know until we get into tonight, starting 8 p.m., what the market looks like with the open. And then tomorrow morning, 4 a.m., when the market actually opens, to see in that post market for a lot of stocks that are not traded through the weekend. They're not 24-hour stocks, 4 a.m., and then again, the 9:30 bell to see what exactly is going on. We also have June 17th and 18th, like I mentioned, the Fed's rate decision and an updated economic projections. This is going to be critical for future direction to understand what's happening, and it will affect the stock market overall. So be aware the S&P 500 could be drastically affected to the up or to the down, depending on what's going to be communicated. And then obviously trade policy headlines, inflation updates, they're going to continue to generate volatility. So be careful. Guys, don't trade the money that you have set aside for mortgage payments, for rent payments, for car payments, what you need to put food on the table to feed yourself or your family. Be careful, guys. Coming out of a crisis type of a scenario it started in the week into the weekend. always causes a bit of a drop or a bit of a pump. We just don't know which one. So just be careful. And again, not trying to give you financial advice, but I'm sharing with you how I'm looking at it, what I'm going to be looking at, and hopefully, how it all goes good for us. And another really big news item this past week was that Boeing, one of their 787 Dreamliner planes, which they just released, these brand new, beautiful 787s, ended up having a devastating air crash in India, actually landing into a building area, a residential area, killing a bunch of people there. What a horrible situation. 242 people were on board, bound for Britain, when the plane actually crashed. And only one of the 242 passengers and crew on board survived, while all others were killed as the plane struck the medical college's hostel as it came down. But with that said, Boeing had a bit of a challenging time with stock, because once the crash itself took place, so in here you can see, looking at the charts, this is Boeing's stock on the exchange. You can see just a very dramatic drop from about $213 per share all the way down to $195 per share. But what's crazy about it is that then the market, people bought the dip, right? We always say buy the dip, sell the top. Don't buy the top. But a lot of people bought the dip, and it worked its way all the way back up to about $205. Had a little bit of a downtrend, continuing downtrend. Did the same thing on Friday, where it dropped again. People bought the dip, worked its way back up. And we'll see now in the pre-market for tomorrow morning, Monday, right now it's sitting at about $200.60 per share. And we'll see what happens tomorrow. But most likely people are going to buy this dip and work its way back up. But obviously, a very challenging opportunity for Boeing, especially being they have massive orders for these new Dreamliner 787s. So we'll see what happens. But with all that said, what I want to share with you guys is we're going to talk a little bit about the current market's best day trade stocks. You can see here, when I go to my positions in here, everything is green right now in this nighttime, after market, everything is green, which is a good indication for tomorrow. If we want, let's take a quick look here at the S&P 500. You see the S&P 500 is on a good, pre-market run up. It's at 597.35. It did close at 597 when the market closed, on Friday evening. But in this, early point, it's still on a run up and doing this a little bit up and down. So we'll see what happens when the market opens tomorrow morning, based on all the news sentiment and everything that's going to happen, if the S&P 500 works its way back up to 6,000 points. So average Joe day trades, guys, I'm going to go through very quickly the current list of the best day trade stocks that are within that $5 to $10 range. Now, some of them have gone past $10, and usually when a company performs very well for me, I stay in that stock. APLD is a great example of that. You're going to see here that APLD has had some ups and downs. There's a lot of news about APLD and CoreWeave's relationship, and I'm going to have a separate video to go into detail specifically about what happened with CoreWeave and APLD. A lot of people think CoreWeave pulled out of the deal. They sort of did pull out of the deal, but on the share side, in warrants, they had a sweetening to the deal to get them to become a tenant, that they were offered, specific amount of shares of stock in order to move forward with the deal on this 15-year tenant lease space. They did do it, and they just decided to exercise the warrant, pull the warrants out, and they sold all the shares more for a financial benefit that they were provided. They're not running. They are staying in it as a tenant, which is still huge news and will continue to help APLD. You're talking $7 billion over the 15 years that they're going to earn in this deal. So we'll talk more about APLD in another video. But APLD remains my number one top 8 day trade stock. I recommend it to all of you, not financial advice. Recommend it to you. Take a look at it. And based on what's happening right now, you can see that it kind of has, bottomed out a little bit in this pre-market time. So it's still dropping. It closed at 11.18 per share. It's at 11.05, dropped all the way here to 10.80. For me personally, this is a time to buy it, because through the pre-market into the morning hours, it's going to run up. And even if it runs up back to 12.50, it's going to then run all the way up there and then drop back down like it does. And you can see here all the buy activity there was at the closing. So, you know, this is still potentially at a very sweet lull bottom spot to buy. Serve Robotics at $10.91. It's already at $11 in this pre-market. Very good day trade stock. Ford also is up from 1043 to 1047 in the aftermarket. GTX, you can see, is at 1031, close at 1031, not a 24-hour stock, but look at the start of a nice, beautiful run up at the market close. And guys, look what GTX does just about every day. It has a pretty good run up, with exception to that day. But you know, you've got to look at the candles, know what to expect, and get in and out, you know, based on the candles, based on support and resistance. SoundHound's another great one. Was at 910 close, 913 opening. IAG gold, like I said, guys, you know, gold, silver, cash, you know, money. Stocks, those types of stocks on the market are very good right now during the volatility of the Israel-Iran war, and that issue. CX, MX, SAB. Look at this jump it did, guys. Look at all those abandoned babies up there. But you know, the market opened up 675. It's still sitting up here, you know, basically at this 685, you know, point up here. So you know, it's bouncing up and down. Then it came back down here. But you know, a decent one for day trading. Grab. I talked to you guys about this, kind of like the new Uber for, you know, Korea, China, that area. You see a good momentous stock for moving. SLDB also, but I would keep, you know, be careful with SLDB. It is a bioscience stock, so keep an eye on that. BBAI is the last one on our list for best day trade within that, you know, say $1 to $10 range. And you see what it did on Friday. You see what it did on Thursday. You know, it's got good every day, some momentum up and down. You just have to, again, know your support and resistance, know your candlesticks. And it's up from 372 close to 374 almost in the pre-market for tomorrow. Now, I did create three new watch lists for you guys, and I'm going to share these with you. These are ones that I've added to a watch list and I'm now trending. So you can trend them with me if you want. I'm going to share all of them with you. These are a bit pricey, so I'm not going in any order. Some are higher value, some are lower value, but wanted to share all these with you as I trend them. I also trend them to see if they're going to be good long-term or swing trade stocks. But Oklo, OKLO is the first one I wanted to share with you. Closed at 63.66. It's already up to 63.75. You can see this pre-market trend it's got in the 15-minute. Kind of a nice trend already, showing that it's on the move up. It's higher dollar, right? So you have to be careful, and you know, depending on how much you want to make. But the reason I'm sharing these 7 stocks with you is because these have the best high volatility in a day trade stock, meaning that they are faster movers, but you've got to be much more careful because of the fact that they're higher volatility. Oklo is one. HIMS is number 2. And you can see it's already up 1.15% since the market opened tonight at 8 o'clock. And it is Sunday night, the 15th. Happy Father's Day again. But it is Sunday night. And you can see when the market opened, this thing already had a nice jump from $55.33 all the way up here to $56.12. So a good little bit of an aftermarket or pre-market run. QUBT, another one also that's running up. Very nice, 1668 open. It's sitting right now at $16.94. QBTS, wow, look at this gap, guys. So it will have to come back down and fill this gap, but opened up at 1510, jumped all the way up to a high of 1558, and it's sitting all the way up here right now. There's this abandoned baby, if you can see right there, that little abandoned baby right there, and that's at $15.48. So up in the pre-market. Same with Pony. Pony AI. Look at these jumps, guys. Look at these stocks. And this is a good one for day trading, more in the 1 to 10. It's at 1178, but started at 1166. Pre-market opened up tonight, and it's sitting all the way up here right now at $12.08. So this has already had, you know, more than a 30-40 cent jump. APLD, as always, guys, you know, that's my go-to. And then WRD, which is WeRide, having a pretty consistent, you know, lateral climb, but it is up in the after, you know, market, in the pre-market here from 781 to 790. So take a look at those high volatility day trade stocks. I'll go over this list in future videos, but this is the next new list for high volatility. Now let's talk about some Mid-priced stocks, and these are three that I actually love. Ionic, okay, it's sitting at $37.84. It's already up to $38.10, and now with a high at $38.27. So this is a really, you can see even on Friday in the post-market into this pre-market has somewhat of an upward trend. Carnival Cruise Lines, even though cruises, airlines, like I mentioned earlier, based on the news, are being affected by the Iran-Israel conflict there. Look at this jump for Carnival Cruise Lines, guys. Pre-market today, Sunday night, opened at $22.37. It's already sitting at $22.69. 30-cent jump, pretty good. And Intel Corp, INTC, is a favorite. It's a long-term hold for me, but I do recommend it as a day trader as well. And you can see that it closed at $20.14, opened up with a quick pop right away to $20.26, and it's hovering right now with this little dragonfly doji at $20.22. My last list that I've created here is the best high dollar movement day trade stocks. Again, big dollars, but let me explain to you. Not in any order. Tesla, which you know is a long-term hold for me. I'm in the green on this, waiting for it to hit $400, and it will one day hit $400, my opinion, not financial advice. But the thing about Tesla stock is that on average, Tesla stock in a day runs about a $15 swing. So say you bought 5 shares of this, a good strong probability that you're going to earn anywhere from $5 to $15 per share based on the swing. And again, you've got to watch these bigger ones. They don't move as fast, especially Tesla goes up by pennies. But if you're following it through the day, you have a chance to make $15 per share. That's a pretty good return on your investment. NVIDIA is another one of those. And NVIDIA pretty much, runs, an average daily volume of over 220. Tesla runs about 116, but their average is 220 for NVIDIA. And look what it's doing already, guys, in the pre-market. Okay, opened up at $141.79, and it's already up here at $142.60. So pretty decent. You can make some money in that. Palantir, not a lot of people are talking about Palantir, but guys, look at Palantir already. Look at this, guys. This thing opened at $136.41 in this 15-minute candle, ran all the way to $140.78. It's up here now, sitting at about $139. But wow, Palantir is answering the call. AMD is another one. And look at the guy. Just look what's going on. Now, listen to me. It's Sunday night, okay? If you're watching this Monday morning, great. You're going to get to see kind of what Sunday night did and what's happening. You'll get to see that early morning 4 a.m. open for the market. You'll get to see the 9:30 bell ring and what these are doing. But everything right now is showing potentially through the night in the pre-market early open, stocks are going to run up. You got to be careful though when the bell rings. What does it do? Does it go down? Is there a lot of different hedge funds or brokers that have orders set for the morning? You don't know, but things are looking really good right now. Everything is green. Okay, Hood, which is Robinhood, same thing. Look at this, guys, running up. Again, and I know these are high, very high price, but good day trades. SMCI, Super Microcomputer, same thing, not as big of a swing up, but still a run up. And if you notice, all three of my new day trade best stocks for you are all running green right now. Okay. Let's go back to the mid-price ones are all green in the night, and the new best day trade ones with the highest volatility all running green, with the exception of APLD, which is kind of funny because that'll be most likely the one that I first get into tomorrow. And then even the day trades, the majority of them, here's APLD, but the majority of the rest of them are in the green, with SLDB in the red, and CX, it doesn't have 24 hours, so you're not going to see that. But anyway, great opportunities. Guys, these are the stocks to take a look at, make some decisions, do some homework. Happy to have you guys here looking at what the best day trade stocks are. Sorry the video was a little bit longer than usual, but we're in these stocks together. Let's make money. Let's get rich. Please subscribe, hit the like button, hit that notification bell so you're notified every time I upload a new video. And guys, let's get green rich together tomorrow. Josh out. Peace.